Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. It's your business to be concerned about what's happening out there in the political front, which is one of the reasons why we have my very good friend, Doug Williamson. He's a regular contributor on The Price of Business, helping us navigate through what's happening out there in politics. He has an excellent website called thepatriotsview.com, thepatriotsview.com. And my understanding is that you did some book signings up there in Washington, D.C. This past week, and been looking forward to hear how that went. Doug, good to talk to you, buddy.
Good to talk to you, Kevin. Actually, we were in New York City.
New York City, yeah. Another temple of greed and envy and evil. Yeah. So tell me how that went. You're right.
It actually went pretty well. I did the original book with Ex Libris. I self-published it, and it's the one with black cover. When they go to the website, they'll see it's black cover, and it has some of the founding fathers on it and everything. And then when I updated the book, Tate, I did it with Tate Publishing out of Oklahoma, and the people there were like Ryan Tate, he's the CEO, Mark Mingle, the Tate Publishing VP, and Brian Norris, he's a key MGC president. And then, of course, I met Dr. Richard Tate, which is the founder of Tate Publishing. So it was really neat to meet those guys. And then the first night we were there, I got in there Thursday, and then I went over and met with them on Friday. Friday we took a tour of the Fox News Channel, which was very interesting.
Oh, really? Very nice.
Yeah. Molly,
who'd you get to see up there?
Well, Miss Molly Picara took us on the tour, and everything. It's like Fort Knox getting in that place, which is probably good, But we went through there, and she took us the whole tour. And she originally, I think she'd worked there for like 5 years under or worked for Bill O'Reilly, I think.
Interesting. So what would you say is a highlight?
Well, probably that, and we did a book signing in New York there at Logos Book. There on 84th and York Street, 84th Street in New York. So that went really well. I was really surprised some of the people there in New York that really came and searched out my book and everything.
That's awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations. So you're happy with how it went? I
am happy. We originally signed up for the December deal, and we were going to stay at the Waldorf, and we ended up staying at the Doubletree down in the Financial District, which it's really nice down there. It's just blocks away from the Tavern, Francis Tavern, where George Washington actually used to have a few cocktails or cold beers. And then might not have been cold back then, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure how cold they were back in the day.
But I think, of course,
ice is certainly one of the great achievements in human history, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nice town. I mean, I enjoy visiting. My stepdaughter lives there, and I enjoyed visiting New York City. There's some interesting places around that town.
Well, I got to tell you, New York City is definitely among my top cities to visit. I'm usually pretty ready to leave when I leave, but I always enjoy going. My wife has delusions of living there, and I tell her, well, if you live there, honey, I will come and visit you. It'd be nice to know I always have a place to stay. But I have no particular interest because, honestly, that's like the most expensive city, at least in the United States, to live in. I don't need that. I love living in a place like Houston, Texas, where, frankly, we've got like small town costs with big city privilege. I love the Houston area.
I love Houston too. I love this area, and I live out in Katy, Push area where I live and everything. I mean, it's it's good to visit. There's a lot of history in New York City. It's we had a lot of good meetings. I'd met a guy from Nate Mundell. He was the president and CEO of Voyage Media. It's not like my book's going to be made into a movie or anything, but met people like that. Met Stu Taylor. He's an author, entrepreneur, and a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. Really nice guy. I was real impressed with him. And Molly, she was just, I can't say enough about her because she was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Molly, again, is...
She used to work at Fox. She actually was an employee at Fox, and now she is a managing director and talent booker with guestbooker.com.
She must be a former scheduler, show scheduler. Her name sounds really familiar. In fact, I think she may have scheduled me on Fox back in the day. So
okay, probably so.
That's funny.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
And Brian Norris, he's a publicist, and he's the key MGC president, and a really nice guy. He's great family. I spent some time with him and Mark Mingle, the the VP of Tate. So I mean, it's nice to meet these people when you're talking to them on the phone and give them a hard time. It's so why isn't this book selling? I mean, it should be just a bestseller by now. So.
Yeah, the problem remains always that there's so much competition, particularly in this particular domain space. But there's no book out there. There's no book out there that brings genuine, real individuals, people that perspective of what's happening out there in the economic and political, the political economy front, but also has the gravitas of someone who's an accountant who understands how these numbers work. There's no book out there that does that, and so it is frustrating. It's a challenge, but to me it's so important, which is why we keep doing this.
Right, and I think Brian Norris mentioned that I think there's over 900,000 ISBNs, which are the numbers on the books, every year and everything. So I mean, it's just a lot of competition out there. It's hard to. It's like people searching out the book. It's like finding a needle in the haystack, and everything, but. I tell you, this book, it really does. I mean, it's been a while since I had it published, especially the first copy. And I was actually looking through the book up there, and I started thinking to myself, man, I wrote this. This thing it's got a lot of information in it.
Yeah, it's got fantastic. A wealth of information.
Yeah.
No question about it. It's a must-reading, and that's why I want to emphasize, again, your website, and for people to check it out, thepatriotsview.com. Your website, by the way, is amazing. It's really good.
My guy, they really did a good job on that. Ryan at Web Sales Group, he really did a good job, and we're still working out the kinks on it and trying to add new things to it, especially working with you and everything. It's been a pleasure, and always will be a pleasure working with you, Kevin. I can't say enough about you because I mean, you noticed the importance of this book years ago. I mean, we did some of this back in 2012, I think.
Yeah, we did. And frankly, the need for this kind of information is sadly even more urgent now than it was then. It's just really incredible. Well, we got about a minute left. We had another debate. Fox Business did the best debate I've seen so far in the GOP debate. You may not have been able to watch it because I know you were traveling, but you probably got some excerpts from it. What was your thoughts about it?
Well, I did see a little bit of it, and I tell you what, where I can really key in, and it would affect my livelihood because it'll drop my revenue probably quite a bit because I do a lot of tax returns. But all these guys are wanting to do this flat tax, and I really think they're missing the point here because, I mean, if you take and go with a consumption tax, which we already have in force, we got federal and state sales tax. I mean, it's already there. You don't have to have the IRS looking over anything else. It's a flow through.
Yeah.
And I think they're really missing about jumping on the consumption tax because that way you get everybody, and you don't have to ask anybody what anything about their information. I mean, you just it's
none of the government's business, is it?
Right.
None of the government's business.
Right. Exactly. If you go purchase something, it's done.
And let me tell you, the reason why we have an IRS is in order to instill fear in the American people. That's the reason why it exists. It's for control. It's not for revenue. Because if it were for revenue, we would do things like a consumption tax. Because taxes on income, be it business income or individual income, actually reduces the likelihood of more revenue being created and economic activity being created.
You are exactly right. I mean, it's just crazy, our tax system, and especially in the last 3 or 4 years, we find out they're targeting special groups, especially conservative groups and everything. It's just crazy what's going on with the IRS.
Doug Williamson, good friend of this program, and you can tell why. Check out his website, thepatriotsview.com. Good talking to you, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You bet. When we come back, more for you right here in The Price of Business.